what's happening is Jay Powell of the Fed is trying to push the yield curve up. But as most of you know, the real yield curve is a euro dollar curve. It's not the Fed curve. And the euro dollar curve went inverted. Now, every time that has happened, tragedy follows. So most of us are old enough to remember the last time that yield curve, not the last time, but an earlier time was 2007, the euro dollar yield curve inverted and the Fed was trying to hold it up. So the Fed's pushing it this way, but the euro dollar is going this way. And that led to the Lehman moment, 2008. So then what happened in 2019, it inverted again, the repo market inverted, the euro dollar inverted, and COVID appeared. So once again, the euro dollar yield curve inverted just recently. And I'm standing alongside my friend Jim Rickards that this next one is going to be the biggest of all. Now, it's good news for some people, but horrible news for the boomers who are starting to retire. So if you're a stock market person and you're counting on the stock market to keep you alive,
yeah,
let's say you're 65 years old and you're going to live to 85, you might be in serious trouble. It's really horrible. But it was predicted in this book here. I'm not a communist, but it's called the Communist Manifesto. And I'm just shamelessly plugging my book, the Capitalist Manifesto, which comes out in a few weeks. But this book here is only 50 pages. My book is 500 pages. But Marx was an idiot, but he was a smart guy. He predicted everything that's happening today in America. So he said that what's going to happen, and it's happening in this country here, is the boomers will go bust. So unfortunately, what Marx was saying was that capitalism would destroy 50% of the population and shove them into poverty. So what happened was this book was written in 1848, 1960. I started studying it in 1965. I went to school in New York. I went to military school. 66, I'm in Vietnam as a student with the Merchant Marine Academy, and I could see what this book was saying coming to life. 72, I'm flying in Vietnam. I was a Marine pilot. It's my squadron patch. And then in 74, ERISA comes out, and ERISA is Employee Retirement Income Security Act, today known as the 401k. So you have all of these baby boomers who have no idea about markets, and they blindly give their money over to Wall Street, who rip them off. I mean, I'm not against Wall Street, I'm just against corruption. They rip them off. They don't know what's going to happen. And now, exactly as Rickards has been saying, he says the Fed, the most incompetent people going, they're telling everything's going right. Whereas the euro dollar market is so much bigger than the Fed. The euro dollar market is the biggest market in the world, and it's just inverted. We're going down. I'm not Republican or Democrat, but when Trump's election was stolen, that was the start of communism, stage 2. And since then, they have COVID passports. They have, defund the police. They get released right away and all this stuff. All of this is part of stage 2. And what Marx said in this book, stage 2, is opposite of stage 1. In other words, the violence is about to begin. And that's what he warned about. So if you look at history, the communists have murdered hundreds of millions of people. So it's about to start. Silver has always been the best. It's still 50% off its all-time high, and they keep using it for industry. Gold is just stored, but silver is used in industry. It's an industrial metal. I keep looking at that going, why is the price $22? And as we know, JP Morgan, all those guys got caught with their hand in the till suppressing it. See, it's only bad news if you don't like what I'm saying. And I'm just telling you, the euro dollar index inverted. Every time that has happened throughout history, something bad has happened. It's inverted. The Fed cannot stop what's going to happen. So is that good news or bad news, or is that the fact right now? And that's what's problem with education. Postmodernist education, which is my core debt, was based upon opinion and emotions. So that's why, like I'm always called a racist. Like, how would you know if I'm a racist or not? That's your opinion. They can call you any name you want. But this whole education system is based upon opinion and emotion, not the facts. So the good news is if you check the facts is silver is 50% off its all-time high. What does that mean to you? Well, EVs are coming. That's good news, all right? And silver is God's money. The counterparty to silver is God, not Jesus. Buddha, Mama have it. But it's on the periodic table of elements. It's for real. So it's good news to me. But if you can say, no, Apple's going to keep going up, you're in la la land. People with no financial education into the stock market. And Jim Rickards and I are good friends, you can tell. But when we were kids, nobody was in the stock market. We're in the bond market.
That's right.
Remember that? And he says suddenly they needed to find a way to get some stupid people into the stock market. So they got the 401k, and all the boomers are in it. So we shifted from defined benefit pension plan. So Ford Motor Company has a defined benefit. So Ford Motor stood behind the retirement.
Yeah.
And then when it went to, in 74, it shifted to defined contribution. And I've talked to Jim about this. I said, oh my God, that was the beginning of the end at that point, because it was pushing all of us, us boomers, into the stock market, not the bond market. 1966, I'm in Vietnam. I'm seeing everything these guys are saying coming true. 1972, I'm flying in Vietnam. I flew behind enemy lines to buy gold because it was illegal for Americans to own gold in 1972. I walk up to a little Vietnamese gold seller, and I said, and so gold was now $50 an ounce, $50 an ounce from 35. And I said to the little Vietnamese woman, I want a discount. She looked at me like I was an idiot. She says, are you kidding me? What school did you go to, you idiot? She says, spot. And I didn't know what spot meant. The biggest problem, again, is the euro dollar system, which is 1,000 times bigger than the Fed, is crashing. Europe is going down right now. I mean, if you see the report, and this is not me speaking, this is the Wall Street Journal talking about it. There's so many rioting going on about this COVID stuff. People just don't want to take it anymore. The uncertainty is too high, so the euro dollar system is trying to go down. But Jim Rickards talks about a thing called Triffin's dilemma. Triffin's dilemma took place in 1944 when the US dollar became the reserve currency of the world. And what that meant was the US dollar was screwed anyway. So one of these, I'm a gold bug and a silver bug and a Bitcoin bug and all this.